Jessica Cruz. I'm a realtor at Pacific Sotheby's, and I am the chair for the North County Association of Realtors Young Professional Network for this 2021 year. I'm super excited to be here for our first event of the year, and I'm excited to introduce Jordan Marks. He is the taxpayers' rights advocate, and he is going to give us all the juice on what's going on coming up soon, mostly on Prop 19, I think, but I'm really excited to have you here. I'm going to turn it over to Jordan. I'll put his information in the chat, so you guys can contact him if you need him. Let us know if you have any questions. And then I'll wrap it up at the end and give you more information on YPN and all the events we have coming up. So, oh, one last thing. I wanted to thank our sponsors. We have some sponsorships still available. Right now we have another sponsor who sponsored us last year, Jake Caesar from State Farm. I use him, he's great. I'll put his information in the chat as well. So
Jessica, is that Jake from State Farm?
It's Jake from State Farm, yeah.
He sounds hideous.
He's the best.
Just joking. If everybody's seen the State Farm commercial, they know Jake from State Farm.
Yeah, I know. We should do a bit with him. It would be a lot of fun. He's actually local to Encinitas, so he's super great with all insurance questions or any insurance needs that you have. So thank you, Jake, for sponsoring YPN once again. Let's see. I'm gonna turn it over to you, Jordan, to get going on our first educational event of the year.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jessica, and thank you so much to the North San Diego County Association of Realtors YPN. Jessica was just telling me it's a free, if you're a member of the North County Realtors, the YPN, you join for free. Is that right, Jessica? And she disappeared on me, but she told me
I was just trying to.
I'm a North County Realtor member. Well, I'm an affiliate, and so I'm becoming an official YPN member. She told me I have to fill out an application, and I get added to the list.
Yeah,
so,
that's all you have to do. It's free. It's one of the great memberships that North County Association of Realtors offers. And so it's a free thing to join. We have a lot of fun. We give a lot of advice. And we just collaborate with like-minded business professionals and just try to get everyone more business and more inspiration. And it's a really great group of people, and everyone's welcome. You can come to any of our events, and to be a member, you just have to be a member of the association and then just fill out an application to let us, bug you.
Well, I want to compliment you and the YPN board and thank Melody, Stoneburner, and the group for having me. You're the first YPN in the County of San Diego Realtors to have a presentation on Prop 19. And I know that's because you want people to learn how to make more money in 2021. Is that right?
That is our goal.
So let's start. Let's do this.
I'm very excited.
All right. So let me get my slideshow going. As much as I'm a pretty face, a slideshow helps it a little bit easier. So again, shout out to the North County Realtors YPN, ahead of the curve as always. I'm Jordan Marks, and I work for Ernie Dronenberg, your elected assessor, recorder, county clerk. Two great things happened in 1978. Ernie was elected to office and Prop 13 passed. Now, I work for Ernie, so I'll tell you I'm pretty happy about the first one, him getting elected, but I'll let you decide what you think is better. Something that we're going to talk about a little bit later is actually Ernie this last year was elected by 57 other elected county assessors to become president of their association, the California Assessors Association. And so he's president of the California Assessors Association this year. He was a chairman of the Board of Equalization, the Franchise Tax Board. He wrote the state taxpayer Bill of Rights. He's a veteran, and he's a small business owner. He owns a flower farm up in North County in Fallbrook. So, when you think about the folks and how we think in doing business in our office, well, we're run by a small business owner. So that means we care about your small businesses. When Ernie was at the state, he created the Taxpayer Bill of Rights, which created a taxpayer advocate office in Sacramento. And he said, you know what, we need to bring those same resources and protections down here to San Diego County. And so he created the office and hired me. Very appreciative. And my job as your taxpayer advocate, funded with your taxpayer dollars, is to help you ensure treated fairly, provide you education like we have today, and correct any systemic issues. So we're always looking on how we can do a better job. Please, you are a partner. Let us know how we can do better. We're always trying to get to the best. We have 5 offices, including San Marcos in North County, 415 staff positions, an $80 million budget, and we have a county archive that we run. It's pretty cool. Right now, our offices, due to COVID, are closed for over-the-counter service, so for walk-up service, but we are operating by mail, email. I think somebody tried to send a pigeon the other day. We took it, you know, whatever it is. And most importantly, you know, this pandemic has caused a lot of opportunities, challenges, and really some deals may have fallen apart somewhere along the way. One of the areas that we saw was foreign translation. And so if there's something where you're like, hey, I need to walk this in to get this done today, and you have a great title, great escrow, but you need to get something done today, your title escrow will call me, but you can call me too and let me know, hey, something's coming down the pipeline, and I can prepare to help you. Whether you're a notary that needs to get your notary re-upped so you can continue to do your work or whatnot, we're here to help you. Your fictitious business name for a COVID relief grant. So just a quick, before we, quick overview of what we do, so you could be thinking about how we can help you. We're the assessor office, so we appraise all real property, personal property in San Diego County. Fun fact, we do boats, planes, and penguins. Yes, we get to go to SeaWorld one day a year and chase penguins around, and we appraise their igloos too. So that's a fun part. We are the recorder office. We do birth certificates, death certificates, marriage certificates, and probably your favorite part, deeds. So when we close that transaction and record, that's when the commission checks come. And so we're a good partner in that. And also for the YPN, we have a lot of folks in our range that are have recently gotten married or thinking about getting married. Well, if you get married in San Diego County, you got a license from our office. We issue about 24,000 of them annually, and we perform almost half of those ceremonies at our offices. So it's pretty awesome. But we do have a small, we're booked out 6 weeks, but if there's something that you or a client need on your marriage service, you're trying to make that special day happen, and oops, you forgot to get your license, give me a call and we're gonna make sure we take care of you. Here are our top 5 achievements, and we don't talk about them really as achievements, but it's more so that we can show you how we think about doing business. Gotta get my little Starbucks in as we go. So number 1, we believe in customer service. It's our number 1 thing that we do. And so when we get our customer feedback cards, we have a 98.2% positive rating in our office from people that filled out cards. We're always chasing that 1.2%, but actually, I'm sure all of you appreciate, as you probably have Yelp pages, somebody created a Yelp page for our office, and we have 4.5 stars, and we're really proud about that. Second, we believe in using what we need. So we've actually returned over $3 million annually back to the county budget over the past 8 years. Those are things that are going to public safety or additional services, or, you know, we'd love to see it go right back to your pockets. We have made sure that our office hours match your business hours. And most importantly, that helped during the pandemic, we had begun a process to move our services from inline to online. We don't want to see you inline, we want to see you online and moving faster. And so because of that, we were able to offer so many more services efficiently during the COVID shutdown. We've been doing it while also reducing our paper, so our footprint, reducing 1 million pieces of paper printing last year. And also that less printing is less burning of your green dollars or tax dollars. So we're doing more innovation, more environmentally friendly, more online services, and that's the way we're going. And lastly, we've reduced fees. We're really proud. Now, this might not sound like a lot, but when you were getting our property records, you'd pay $2 for every page. Now, we did a study and found, well, we should really only be charging $2 for the first page and 5 cents for each additional page. Imagine if every government agency found a way to get you $1.95 back, I think you would be a thousandaire. But it's not about the $1.95. It's about the fact that we should not be taking a cent more of your hard-earned and your clients' dollars than we are necessary. So we're trying to put as much money back in your pocket as possible. So the pandemic has brought a lot. There's some updates I want to get you. One of the key promises that we make to the realtor community is that we don't close until you do. That's our slogan. And so if you get a recorded document into our office by a certain time, we close that day. If you go to other counties, it could be 3 days. If LA County is a 3-day recording process, if you've closed a property up there, we will get it done same day. And we have not skipped a beat during the pandemic, during COVID outbreaks, during all these other challenges. We've strategically made sure to insulate ourselves through various practices from being shut down. And it's been close, I'll be honest, but we have not skipped a beat recording your sales and making sure that you are doing the important work. In fact, when the shutdown happened and they said realtors were not an essential service, Ernie and I advocated for you to open back up alongside NAR. We wrote a letter to the governor and to the federal leaders, and we're happy to see you are an essential service of our market, and we're making sure that we're keeping your essential work flowing. So here's just a heads up though. On average, we record 600,000 to 700,000 instruments a year. This past year, we're almost at 1,992,803. It's a tremendous amount of recording going through. And you know, when you have less staff and people spread throughout, as I'm sure you can imagine your own offices, it gets challenging. And our workload's gone up in January alone 47%, but we're still getting there. The only thing that we've changed is instead of getting your recorded documents in by 4 p.m., we've moved it up to 3 p.m. because we need our folks home by 9 o'clock so they can get to their families. They're working weekends. So this is what I'm telling you. If you can get your deal done and get it in sooner, and I know you're trying to because then the commission check can come too, but just in that budgeting, always keep an extra day or two because we don't know what happens. You know, we have a inauguration day coming, and we've had some things, our office is at the county building downtown, and a lot of protests happen there. You never know what happens and what might clear out on a day. So just bear with us through this process, but make sure you're giving yourself an extra day if possible. But we have not missed a beat, and we've been there day in, day out. Your deal is closed. We don't close until you do. And actually, here's just a fun example of how we've been operating during COVID. When the COVID shutdown happened in March, 58 counties were ordered, that's every county in the state of California, was ordered to stop marriage services. And so our staff, to their compliment, and Ernie with his fortitude, we commandeered the snack shop outside our downtown building, and we said, no, we're not going to close. And one county stayed open, that's your county, San Diego County, and we opened the marriage hut. And you can see this Marine Corps couple, he was getting deployed on the Mercy ship. And so, you know, you didn't know what was going on. We had a lot of first responders and 1,700 couples that were waiting to get married. And so we took care of them all. We kept our promise to them. And that's just the way that we do business. Okay, so let's get into making you some more money in 2021. But before we jump in on Prop 19, we need to work through Prop 13. That is the basis of the property tax system in California. Prop 13 is an agreement passed between the voters and the government in 1978 that says you can afford to pay, and you promise to pay 1% of the assessed value with an up to 2% increase as long as you own that property. So what does that look like? Well, let's say Jessica sold Melody a house for $100,000 in an open transaction, right? Assuming that it's fair market, then that $100,000 becomes your base year value. That's your assessed value at the point. And you pay 1% of that, or $1,000. And then the next year it could go up to 2% more, or $1,200, or $102,000, or that would be $1,020, a $20 increase. So if you understand that 1%, that's what we're operating off with, an up to 2% increase. Here's a visualization of what that looks like. So when you bought that home for $450,000, and we've seen this happen, the next year the home went up to $600,000 of value. That would have been a $1,500 tax increase the next year. Unaffordable. But Prop 13 kept it affordable, predictable, and allowed people to budget for their property taxes. Now, the voters also say, well, what if my values go down below that Prop 13, that black line, that Prop 13 cap? Well, they said, well, you still pay the same tax. And they said, no, we should provide relief. So they passed Prop 8. Prop 8 was passed shortly after, and it said if the value goes below the Prop 13 limited cap, it can be dropped, but it never can be returned above the cap. And so as you see in the market, it dropped in the red, and that star is where it got stopped, and the taxes were limited from going above the Prop 13 cap. Okay, now you're smarter than 99% of the folks out there. Congratulations. Here's one thing that you're going to need to know too. In figuring out values of how much your clients are going to save, you're going to need to know what their current assessed value is. So if you go to sdttc.com, the San Diego Treasurer Tax Collector, it's on Google, I promise. You don't need to write that down. You can go to pay the bill option and punch in their APN, and you're going to get their tax bill. It's a public record. And you're going to see on the bill what their assessed value is. I just see it right there. So this homeowner has a home assessed at $252,993, or roughly about $2,500 annually, that 1% in taxes. Even if the home's worth $1 million, they're only paying $2,500 based on that. Okay, great. Now you know where to find some of the information you're going to need for running the numbers. And now we're going to hop into Prop 19. In 2020, the California Association of Realtors, they were using, if you ever wonder where your money goes on your dues billing statement, okay, well, here's where it went for 2020. They passed a home protection for seniors, severely disabled families, wildfire victims, natural disasters, and I think unicorns and lollipops were trying to pop up on the title there, and it passed. Congratulations. Prop 19, when it passed, impacted 4 areas of property tax law, but for your purposes, we're going to concentrate on 2. The 2 that we're concentrating on are the parent to child, grandparent to child transfer, that's a family transfer, or a senior exclusion from reassessment. Now, some of you are asking, why is there a parent to child and a grandparent to child? Well, the legislature passed the parent to child, the voters did, and then they said, hey, what about the grandparents that want to give it to their grandkids? Well, they said, okay, well, they can do that, but the child in between can't be alive. So it has to go directly to the child and then to the grandchild. Now, I see some folks on here that are thinking, well, I don't like my kids. I love my grandkids. Well, I'm not telling you to go kill your kids, okay? Don't do that. But if for whatever reason something unfortunate happens where your child passes, your grandkids are not going to be punished for not having that direct link. So you can go parent to child to grandchild. But you can also go grandparent to grandchild only if the parent had passed. Okay, the other areas that are impacted, and I'm going to kind of concentrate on those a little bit, are the Prop 110, severely and permanently disabled claimants. Okay, Prop 110 basically says if you're severely and permanently disabled, we're going to allow you to move that tax base. The same thing that we're talking about here for the seniors, but you don't have to be a senior, you just have to be severely and permanently disabled. What does that mean? We kind of need a doctor's note. We had a really interesting scenario where somebody out in Del Zura was allergic to the dirt. I can't make this stuff up. And they're like, I'm dying. I'm literally severely disabled from my allergies of the dirt that developed. Okay, they gave us a doctor's note, and then they ended up moving to the coast because they didn't have the same allergy there. We were able to transfer that over. Also, we likely see it in a lot of our veterans. They go ahead and for the veterans, if they come back and they were in a 3-story home and they need to move into a ranch style home to accommodate, or a car accident, any of those situations, bring them to our office. We're going to really help them out. The second area that this Prop 19 impacted was disaster relief. Those are fire victims, wildfires. And so if your clients have over $10,000 in damage, send them to us and we can reduce their property taxes. If they lost their home to a wildfire disaster, flood, earthquake, whatnot, Prop 19 made it that now anybody can move anywhere statewide, where before you were limited to a few counties. And so that was one of the real benefits of Prop 19. But besides that, if something's happened where somebody lost a home to a wildfire or a disability, they need to change homes, contact us. We'll talk to you about it. But these are the 2 that are going to be the most impactful to your business. One, the parent-child transfer, grandparent-grandchild. The current rules are you can transfer an unlimited assessed value on a primary residence. There's no requirement that your kids live in the property, and you can give your kids up to $1 million of assessed value on other non-primary residence properties. So what does that look like? If you had a home that you bought for $100,000 in La Jolla in 1980, and the assessed value today is $160,000, because remember, it goes up 2%, the bill on that would be $1,600 a year. If that same property was taxed at market rate and the market value is $2 million on this property, you'd be paying 1% or $20,000 annually in taxes. So under the current rules, you can give that property to your kids. They would take the savings for them would be the market value minus the current assessed value. In this case right here, you would be saving your kids $18,400 annually in property taxes. They would be paying the same bill that you did and not the market value of $20,000 a year in taxes. Okay, in addition, you get that other $1 million of assessed value. That's a potential saving of $10,000 a year. So if you have a business that you bought for $500,000 and its market value is $1 million, you're paying $5,000 versus $10,000. So you can give that to your kids and they would save $5,000. If you had a condo that you bought, and I know there's some really good realtors out there. Jessica doesn't just sell them a house, she sells them a condo. She sold them the condo for $500,000 and it's worth $1 million and there's a $5,000 difference. They would also save $5,000 there. So you could see they can get that value. Now, after February 15th, these are the changes. Prop 19 says now you can transfer up to $1 million of assessed value on a primary residence. You must live in the property. You cannot transfer any additional assessed value. That extra $1 million is gone. And you have to file a homeowner's exemption and the Prop 58 form within 1 year versus 3 years under the current rules. So if anybody recognizes the dude, that's Jeff Bridges. And Jeff Bridges was living in Malibu, in the Boo, as I like to call it. And he had a multi-million-dollar home. His parents gave it to him and their taxes were like $500,000 of assessed value or $5,000. And so people felt that that was unfair because he was renting it out for a commercial purpose. He wasn't living in the Boo. And so that was one of the impetuses. So if anybody knows the dude must abide by the new rules after February 15th, 2021. Here's what it looks like under the new rules. So if you have a $100,000 home, right, that you purchased, and you're paying $1,600 in taxes a year, or $160,000 of assessed value, this is the math that you do. You take the assessed value, you add it to the $1 million that you get, and you deduct it from the market value. And then that creates the excess amount that will then be added to your assessed value that you have, okay? So I went to law school. I'm not a mathematician, but I promise you, you can work through this math. Remember, you find the assessed value on the tax bill. You take that number, you add it to $1 million, and you deduct it from the market value of what you think the home is worth. Here we have 160 plus 1 million, so you're 1.16 minus 2 million. The excess is 840,000. That's the difference. You add that to the 160,000. That's that assessed value again. Multiply. Or remember, before February 15th, your clients can give them the $1,600. Now it's $1,600 plus $8,400. They're going to have a $10,000 tax bill on that same property after February 15th on the parent to child transfer. In addition, remember that additional $1 million of assessed value, that's gone. You don't get to give that to your kids. Now, I'm going to talk about what we're really going to see in most of the market. We do have a ton of examples of that first one. I had a realtor, their parents bought their home in Point Loma for $49,000. Okay, I think I might have dropped off there. Are we back on? Melody, you want to give me a thumbs up?
You are back on. Yeah, you just dropped out when you started talking about the Point
Okay.
Loma, 49,000, and then
Great.
you went down for a second.
So we had a realtor call my office about a week ago. I was talking with him, and parents bought a home for 49,000. Their assessed value somewhere like 200,000 or $2,000 tax bill a year. And the home's worth $3 million. A $3 million home today, if you buy that, you're paying $30,000 in taxes annually. So you better believe he's doing his transfer before February 15th. So that way he doesn't have to pay an additional $28,000 in taxes every year. That's a lot of money. For most of the market, where we're going to see is that $1 million cap should cover a lot of folks. So if you bought a home for $300,000 in 1990, and the assessed value today is $420,000 or a $4,200 tax bill, basically you look and see if your purchase price is below the million plus the assessed value. So in this case, if you go and buy a $1.3 million home or a $13,000 tax bill, right? That's what you would pay. You go and look at 1.3 versus the 420 plus 1 million, 1.42, and it's less, 120,000 of assessed value less. So you'll keep the same taxes as you did before. So again, to see if the taxes are going to go up, you take the current assessed value plus the million and see if it's less than the market value of that property at the time of transfer. If it's less, taxes are going to stay the same and they're going to have tremendous savings. In this case, they're saving almost $8,000. But remember, you have to now live in the house and call it your primary residence. And if you move out or rent it out after February 15th, those properties, you lose the benefit and it returns back to that $13,000 tax bill. Okay, so if families are planning on continuing to live in the house, but great. If you want to give your kids flexibility, they can rent it out. They can use it as income property. They can keep it in the family, but have different folks cycle in that, or keep it as a second home. That needs to be transferred before February 15th. So let's talk about how this impacts your business. The rules are changing and they're not as favorable, but this is what's going to happen in the market. You're going to get 3 opportunities. One, you're going to get to educate your clients on something that they can do now to save tax dollars for them and their family. And they're appreciative. Karma has value. I believe it does. But at the same time, it's going to be really tough for folks to get their act together to do the transfers before February 15th. That's just what we're seeing in the market. And by our estimation in our office, we expect 60% of the transactions. So we expect over 6,000 or 7,000 transactions that we would have seen transferred down because of the low tax base. Yeah, it cost me $2,000 a year. I'll keep mom's house. But if I had to pay $28,000, guess what I'm selling? Well, by talking to the parents, guess who you're also going to probably be talking to? The kids. The kids that are eventually going to want to sell the property. Because if they live in another state, after February 15th, taxes go up. And so in most cases, you're going to be building future business for yourself, okay? And if they're living there for 10 years and then they're like, hey, we need to move into another place, that's another client for you. It's really high value building of your network of future clients. So that's the opportunity in the parent to child. And also for yourself, think about for you and the wealth building of your family. Now, I'm just going to put a preface on this. There's 2 things. One, we look at property taxes. I'm not your IRS tax professional. I am familiar with the IRS tax rules, but you need to seek the advice of an IRS tax professional to make sure you're maximizing the most out of your deal. Now, there's ways to do these deals that there's things called step up in basis where if one of the parents pass, then the property, and I'm just going to use this property example. If let's say this $300,000 property was worth $1 million, instead of the capital gains starting from $300,000, when you get a step up in basis when somebody dies, it goes to the $1 million, and then they start counting from there. So it can save you a significant amount of capital gains. But there's ways to do that in the transaction. There are ways to do this smartly that will be tremendous savings for your clients and their families. But I do believe most of them are not going to get there. And guess what? Those are future sales that are going to be right back talking to you saying, hey, we just decided we're going to offload this property, and you're going to be there to help them. So there's opportunity in danger, but mostly in good karma, you're going to get great opportunity and commissions. All right. So now we're going to go to last piece, in the legislation, they talked about family farms. I know I'm in North County. Ernie's a family farmer in North County. There's an additional benefit of $1 million assessed value of farm property specifically after February 15th. So for the family farmers, they can transfer $1 million of other property now, right? And then also transfer $1 million of farm property after. So for the farmers, it's really good for them to take care of part of the transfer before February 15th and part of the transfer after February 15th. If you have a family farmer, have them call our office. They're going to appreciate you connecting them with us, and we're going to make sure they get the most benefit out of this. Lastly, I will say, as I mentioned earlier, our recording services are under extreme pressure due to these low refi rates. I mean, we're just processing tremendous amounts of refis, and they're in the same pipeline as these recordings. If your clients notarize and deliver the deed, that is legally enough to say they transferred, and it makes it easier for us to have a notarized document. Then they can mail it in. I still tell them to try to record by February 15th, which, by the way, is a holiday. So you cannot record on February 15th, so you have to do it before. But I will say this, if you mail it in to record by February 15th, don't lose your mind if it didn't record by February 15th. Just please make sure it's notarized if you can. Otherwise, we're going to do as much as we can. We're your neighborhood-friendly assessor office. We're not here to squint our eyes on how we catch you on something. We're here to help you get there on something. But make it easier for us. If you can notarize and deliver the document, the deed, beforehand, that makes it way easier for us. And then we're going to go and get there with you, making sure that you get those pre-February 15th benefits, the current benefits that are way more favorable. Okay, I'm just going to do some recaps and recommendations on the parent-to-child transfer. Remember, again, notarize and deliver and mail it in. February 15th, afterwards you have to get a homeowner's exemption or a disabled veterans exemption within 1 year. You still have to file the parent-to-child transfer form. Those are the two things that you need afterwards. So if your clients ask you, okay, I did the transfer, what do I need to do? These are the things after February 15th you need to do. Tip of the day. Anybody here get their parents to co-sign on their property so they can afford to get a mortgage funded? All right, everybody's saying maybe, no, yes. Some of you are, and some of your clients have, and I know you're in the transaction with them. If their parents are still on title, remember, it can never be their parents' primary residence because the kids are living there. So that's their other property. They have the opportunity now to get their parents off title on a benefit that will expire, and they won't get reassessed because there's $1 million of additional assessed value there. So please, if you have clients, for the lenders that are on the call, if you have clients that had somebody sign on in order to help them get their mortgage, take them off now. Now's the opportunity to do it with no cost. Otherwise, after February 15th, we could see them getting reassessed at some point. Lastly, and reminder again, consult your IRS professional to consider the tax implications. We're talking property taxes today, but you have to consider your state and federal taxes. All right, now, so February 15th, I'm talking to my clients, educating them, parent to child, parent to child. All right, I got kids that want to sell, great. You're also gonna have some parents that are like, you know what, the benefits aren't gonna be that great after February 15th. I'm a senior, maybe I'll transfer my taxes to somewhere else and move somewhere else. Okay, here are the changes to the senior exclusion from reassessment. The current rules are, if you're over 55, you're a senior. Now, let's be honest, over 55, I just don't view that as a senior, but by law, good, you qualify. One-time primary residence under the formula cap. So you can transfer your your primary residence. The formula cap currently is sale price plus 5% in the first year, first 365 days, and then an additional 10% from that sale price above it. That's your cap in the second 365 days. You have to do a per sale complete within 2 years. It has to be in the same county, and it has to be or one of the counties that adopted the ability to do so. There's only 11 counties in the state of California right now that allow you to transfer between counties. here's what Prop 19 did. This is what CAR delivered for you. Now you can be over 55. You get 3 times. Primary residence, there's no more cap to blow the deal. And unfortunately, we've seen tons of deals blown because of that cap. Now it says if you go above the cap, you get to add the additional amount at market value. It's great. You still have to file within 2 years, and now it's statewide. Hey, what county can you transfer to? Every state, every county, great. Anybody want to go to Shasta or Nevada? I've been to Inyo, really nice. I love San Diego. Okay, so here's an example of a transfer after 4/1, okay, that's within the cap. If you bought your original property in 2000, you paid $300,000 for it, and the assessed value today is $420 or $4,200. Okay, you have a $4,200 tax bill and you sold your place for $1 million. You went and bought your new place for $900,000, and if you paid market rate and you paid taxes on that, your tax bill would be $9,000. Because that $900,000 is less than that sale cap, you transfer over your old bill of $4,200 and you get to keep that amount. Your savings, $4,800. That is an ability for a senior to upgrade their lifestyle and not their property taxes and move into something that was more accommodating to where they are in life at 55. Again, 65, and then 75, because you could do it 3 times. It's great. Okay, what if you're above the cap? Okay, so you bought your home, it was your starter home, you've owned it for 20 years. You know, again, you sold it for $1 million, you're only paying $4,200 in taxes, but you're like, you know what? I'd like to move up to something more expensive. I'm gonna buy a $1.2 million home, which would be $12,000 in taxes. Okay, that's above the cap, it's above your sale price. So you take the sale price cap and you deduct it from the purchase price, and that difference is added to your old tax bill, and then we blend it together. So here, you had a $200,000 difference, or $2,000. We add that to the assessed value, and now your new taxes are $6,200. Total savings, $5,800 annually. Still a great deal, and still a great deal for your clients. Okay, everybody heard me say 3 times, right? And in my mind, 3 times is a buy and sell and buy and sell. That's 6 deals and 6 commissions. And by the way, each time it comes at 2 at a time. This is great. You should love it. It's more business. 2021. Let me talk to 55-year-olds. Okay, it's 2 deals. So remember, if the home sells or you purchase, right? Let's say right now you're in the middle of a transaction and they already sold. If they buy after April 1st, they're going to be considered qualified under Prop 19. Now, we think that's the rule, and I'm going to just put a little caveat. Remember I told you Ernie's president of the California Assessors Association? Right now, as we speak, he is at the State Board of Equalization, which writes the tax rules. He's talking to the Speaker's office, Speaker Rendon. He's talking to the Senate leadership, and they are working on the actual rules because the initiative passed, but the initiative doesn't really capture everything. And so the assessors had 70 pages of potential rules. Some of them taxpayer friendly, some of them not, but don't worry, Ernie is working to make sure all of them are taxpayer friendly. And so he's at the state advocating on your behalf. San Diego County is the tip of the spear. So we're just giving you information based on our lengthy knowledge of what we think is going to happen. And we believe if you started the home purchase before April 1st, but you do the home sale, if you do the home purchase and the sale and the purchase, one piece after April 1st, that transaction will qualify for the new rules. But I just had a realtor call in the other day and they said, well, my client needs to wait for Prop 19. I go, okay, why don't you tell me what the deal is? Well, we sold for $1 million and they want to buy a place for $900,000 in San Bernardino. And so they need to wait for Prop 19, right? And I go, no. Remember, the old rules, if you're under the sale price, you're within the cap. And San Bernardino happens to be one of those counties that will allow you to move. I go get your commission, go do 2 deals. You don't have to wait. And will those folks still get more chances to have the buy and sell and that senior exclusion? We believe they're going to get 2 more chances after, but we don't know the exact rules. But I said, go ahead and do it now, don't wait. But if the deal requires Prop 19 more beneficial rules because they're buying above the cap, Get that second part of the transaction done after April 1st, and we will process that today as if it's passed. The second thing is, we got a lot of smart people on the call. I see Ruth Pugh. Hi, Ruth. And Ruth probably has her property, and she probably converted her garage into an ADU. And she's renting it out for some additional money. She has a lease, and they have 2 parking spots and a small yard. If there's a commercially used portion of your residential property, we will take that percentage of square foot against your total, and that's our percentage that's used for primary residence versus commercial. We will award the cap based on the percentage that's only used for residential. Now, if you rent out a room to like a foreign exchange student, no, we're not going into your house and calculating that room. But if you have a lease and you have tenants, and yeah, it's at the time of sale, by the way. So let's say 6 months before the sale, Ruth said, hey, I don't want any more tenants, and it's all used for the primary residence, 100%. But if in the MLS, your great realtor says tenants are already there ready for use, we're going to know that it's used for a commercial purpose. And we use Google too. So just think about how it's listed. If any of it's listed, we're not showing up at your door with a measuring tape. Okay, we are the fairness folks. We are not about trying to get every last inch of nickel. Okay, let's do a fair estimate of what percentage was used commercially. Third, my wife's a divorce attorney, which, by the way, I want to thank Jessica. She dropped my contact information, my cell phone and email in the chat box for you. I happen to have been blessed with a toddler. I have a 1-year-old. They're actually my work partners today. The nanny got COVID, so we are all at home working. So if you hear David in the background, you can say hi. And I feel like on a group like YPN, that's totally appreciated, right? All right, cool. So my wife's a divorce attorney, though, and I'll tell you, the pandemic brought a lot of things. Turns out people didn't like their spouses. We got a lot of divorces coming down the pipeline, so I hope you have your contacts with your divorce attorney referrals. But before, under the old rules, before April 1st this year, divorced couples, only one of them gets the benefit to transfer the low basis for a senior exclusion. After April 1st, we believe each person in the couple will get to use it. Now, we're not sure if they're each going to get 3 or if the 3 is going to be combined between the 2 of them. Those rules are being written right now, but comfortably after April 1st, that's an extra deal for you. Now, we talked about parent-child, and we talked about the senior transfer. You can do a senior transfer and then give it to your kids. You cannot give your basis to your kids and then do a senior transfer. We actually had a couple in our office, and the parents, unbeknownst, had given the kids their home, and they thought it was great. And the kids filed for the parent-to-child transfer, and they took the basis that their parents had, and then their parents went to go do a senior transfer. Well, it got really awkward in our office when the parents were like, give us back our basis, and the kids were like, no, we don't want to do it. And so it happens. Don't find yourself in that position, but you can only do it and then a parent-child. You can't do a parent-child and then do a senior. Lastly, I happen to be blessed. I married a younger lady. She's going to be in her 40s while I hit my 55. And so the question is, on a couple, does the spouses have to both be over 55? Or even if you're doing a senior with the kids, if you're all entitled, the only requirement is one of them be over 55. And again, the last thing I'm going to remind you, Prop 19 is great. You get 2 deals. 2 deals, that's right. Okay, so I'm going to continue to finish off the last piece, but let's start dropping those questions in the chat box, and maybe Jessica or one of the folks from the YPN team can read those off to me. But we're coming close to the end here, so get those questions in there. For some of you that work with commercial property owners, I just want to give you a little hint in the market. Maybe this will help you as you talk 2021. We could not legally provide COVID relief in property taxes last year because lien dates, that's the date that we look at the value of properties for placing a tax lien or your tax bill, is based on January 1st of each year. And the pandemic didn't hit until March. So unfortunately, we couldn't include that. Now, January 1st just hit, and guess what? We're doing as much COVID relief as we can. We're trying to help these small businesses every which way we can. And we believe that if a business owner bought or made significant commercial improvements after 2015, that they should be open for some COVID property tax relief. Now, if you bought your property in 1980, okay, and you're paying on 100,000 in tax and the property is worth 10 million, the pandemic didn't hit you enough where they dropped that value down below 100,000. It may have. Let us know. We're going to talk to you, but let's be realistic. It has to, remember, as I showed you, it has to go below the assessed value that we have on record, the current market value. So we believe after 2015, those folks should qualify for some relief under the current pandemic application. Okay, remember I told you need to have a homeowner's exemption? Great news. San Diego County, we happen to be the only county that does electronic homeowner's exemption filing, but we have it there for you. We have e-signature, and we're trying to teach every other county assessor how to do it, but in advance of the pandemic, this was a great online option. NSDCAR and not only do your clients get to have their low basis transferred, but they also save 70 bucks. It's great. This is the mayor of Lemon Grove. Actually, she didn't realize we went to her bill and we didn't see that word homeowners. You can see it circled, and $7,000 deduction of assessed value. So we went and helped fill her out, and now she's probably saved about 400 bucks since we filled that out with her. Now, there's two types of homeowners exemptions. Now, most of us are the one I just showed you. For those that are disabled veterans, those that served our country that the Veterans Administration rated 100% service-connected injury, or their surviving spouses, those are the Gold Star families, there's an additional homeowners exemption that they could qualify. It's an either or for them, but on this one, we can save them almost up to $2,070. They have to have a low income component to get that full value, but most of them save about $1,500. Actually, we started 2018 when I was hired on. My office, one of our first projects that we undertook was doing better outreach to our disabled veteran community. We looked and we had 5,000 veterans in our program, and I said, you know, I really think we could do a better job educating the community. And so we reached out to the realtor community, and thanks to NSDCAR, CAR Director Robert Calloway, who unfortunately has passed, but I want to honor him, and other realtor associations and the veteran VA rep and other groups, we did a great job, amazing job reaching out to our veteran community. We went from 5,000 in 2018, and we just hit 11,000 disabled veterans who are 100% disabled or unemployable, and their surviving spouses saving. We have 11,000 now qualified. We're #1 in California for helping these veterans with this benefit, and they get $16.5 million back here in San Diego County now annually, making their home ownership more affordable. So I want to say thank you to the realtor community. They have to have either a homeowner's exemption or a disabled veterans exemption. All right, here's my information if you want to screenshot it. Again, Jessica dropped it in the chat box. 3, 2, 1, we're going to drop off the presentation. And now we are going to go and take any questions that you have.
Thanks so much for the presentation, very helpful. I have 2 questions that I see here so far. The first one, if 2 people are on title 50-50, can another person jump on title with one of them filing the parent to child exclusions and have the tax remain the same as what they have been?
So if you add a third person on title, let's say you're going to give your kids a third of title, then you can transfer them that third of the title. So if you have 3 people on title, let's say the parents, and then they decide they're only going to keep 1%, you can transfer them 98% to your kids right now. So it's however you want to transfer your percentages, and you just list that in the deed of transfer. Now, one of the questions that we get is, have it in a trust. Can I trust transfer it to my kids? And the answer is yes. A trust is a holding document.
That's the second. Maybe I'll ask a second question, and then we can touch back on that again.
Okay.
So they also said, let's see here. If my dad passed and he didn't add me to title and I remain on his trust, I would have to make that my primary residence to keep the parent to child tax?
After February 15th, correct. Now, if your dad passed on February 15th or before, we would count that date of death as the date of transfer. But yes, after February 15th, if your dad has the property in a trust and passes, at that point, you would need to take that residence as your primary residence, or you would not get the benefit of that parent to child transfer.
That's a huge change.
Right. So what we're seeing are people moving properties around. For example, I had somebody that held the property in an LLC, and they're like, can my LLC transfer it to my kids? Well, the LLC is not a person, but in many cases, if you own LLC as spouses, you can transfer it out of the LLC without getting reassessed, pass it to your kids, and have them put it in the LLC. There's different ways to move things around, but I would suggest you talk to our office first before you do that.
Perfect.
And guess what? YPN got you my cell phone number, so it's over there.
I love that. I don't think there's any more questions, so maybe we'll stop off with that. But I'll just wrap it up. Thank you so much, Jordan, for all of this information. I think, I know that I'll probably reach out to you a couple more times if we have any, kind of coordinating questions like that to avoid, or, basically use you for what you are, a tax advocate. So thanks for being so personable and available and making this
Jessica,
tax stuff.
can I give a tip? I was on a call the other day, and I'm trying to remember, I think it was a title rep told me that for their clients, they would send them all the assessed values on homes in their farm.
Oh, wow.
So if you want to go to your title reps and ask them for, hey, I'm working this area, let me see all the assessed values, and you see really low numbers and the market value in that area is high, well, those are your good targets to go out and start talking to. And generally, if they have low assessed values, they tend to be over 55. So there's a good gamble. There's some communities like La Mesa or I would say Escondido, where you see some really properties that have been held for a long time. So just as you're thinking about how do I reach these folks and talk to them, how do I farm this project and get more business, I would talk to your resources, your title, escrow, ask them for their list, and then think about, now that you understand how assessed value works, if you see $100,000 assessed value in an area where you're like, those homes are worth $1 million, right? That's a $9,000 difference. Now you can talk to them about $9,000 of value and savings and opportunities.
That's great. I like that little tip.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, North County YPN. I'm going over to the website today, and I think you were going to tell me how I could do it, right, Jessica?
Yeah, I sure will. There's a couple ways. I think the easiest way is to just go to NSDCAR.com. So stands for North County Association of Realtors. So NSDCAR.com. And there's a Join YPN button. That's pretty easy. You can also reach out to our liaison, Lindsay. I put her information in the chat as well. You can email her. She's on NSDCAR website. Find us on Facebook. You can call me, email me. There's just so many ways. Just Google us and we'll get you plugged in. It's super easy and it's a great network. I love it. I love just connecting with like-minded business professionals so that we can, just grow together and have a year of 2021 exponential growth with doing things like this, your little tip on tax people and all these places. That's kind of what we like to do. Just get inventive and get creative and just make all of ourselves better.
Well, I want to thank you, Jessica, and the YPN team. And also, I got to give a special shout out. You have an amazing government affairs director, Taylor Thompson, best, a great partner with our office, and also your CEO, Tommy. You guys got a stellar team over there at the North County Realtors, and with leaders and fun folks like you. Jessica's fun. I look forward to returning to in-person happy hours, right?
Oh, me too. Please. I hope it's this year. But if not, in the meantime, we'll be putting stuff like this on, educational things. We have something planned every single month. So you'll be invited, and it'll be a great time until we can get together in real life.
Cheers to a great 21. Take care.
Cheers,
Bye.
and thanks everyone for joining. Bye-bye now.
By the way, Jessica, I sent you the
Yes.
slides, so make sure if anybody wants to see the slides, Jessica has them, and she can share them with any of the attendees. How do they get those from you? Do they email you?
You know, you can email me. My easiest email is realestatejessica@yahoo. realestatejessica@yahoo.com. I will get you all the information. You can reach out to YPN as well, and we'll send it that way.
Great. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Happy 2021.
You as well.